everybody. Today I have a card showing you how to do or how to use color blocking for your card. A little bit of history on color blocking. It's believed that in the 1900s, the Dutch painter from the 1900s, a Dutch painter named Piet Mondrian is the one who influenced the style of art. He used to use a lot of stark lines and geometrical shapes with bright colors for his painting. And early in the early 20s, 2000s is when the fashion industry kind of pulled out that trend into color blocking, and it's still there, but it's not as popular. But I still like that idea of color blocking. So you can see there, I've just pulled out a picture, a photograph from Elle magazine, and that if you look at the colors on the left side model that the left side model is wearing, I've picked the colors from her dress there, or her ensemble there, and we're going to create a card using those colors. And I'm not using any color pencils, nothing here today, just solid cardstocks in various colors. So I've taken this stamp set, the hydrangea stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp the florals from that stamp set using some VersaFine ink, and then I'm going to heat set that using some white embossing powder. And then I'm going to repeat, not exactly the florals, but I'm going to repeat that same embossing technique onto this green cardstock for my leaves. So you can see I'm using these cardstocks as my coloring elements versus any other media. When I say media, any other coloring sources like Copic or watercolors or anything like that. I'm just using cardstock. So it's really an easy way to create cards with a lot of detail, not details exactly, a lot of oomph, I would say. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to just die cut these flowers. There is a coordinating die for these flowers. The leaves in this stamp set do not have coordinating die, but they were very easy to fussy cut. So I did go ahead and fussy cut these leaves using my detailed scissors. And here you can see I've gone ahead and stamped a few more flowers and leaves using the same method and die cut them and fussy cut them. Now I'm taking this yellow cardstock, again from that same color palette that we decided earlier, and I'm going to create a frame. And for that, what I did is I took the scallop die. Rubbernecker has scallop dies in their store. I did not have it with me, so I used the Spellbinder's really old die, and I paired it with the rectangle die to create this frame. And it's very easy to do. I will link the products down in the description box below where you can get it from the Rubbernecker store. So I'm just going to take that light pink base. Of course, that light pink base was that color was not a part of her ensemble, but I just added that. It was still in the pink family. I just added that one more color for my base. So all I'm doing here is I've added some foam adhesive behind the frame, and I'm going to adhere that in the center of this pink cardstock. And you can see how beautifully it pops. Now, color blocking usually is the theory is you take the opposite color or the complementary color on a color wheel and you create your patterns. But you can also do color blocking using ombre colors or very similar colors. And I'll show you in the second card we create how I take a second idea and create that into a card. So here you can see I am just adding these florals that we stamped and embossed using white powder onto the two corners of this frame that we created. And you can just see those colors, how they're kind of coming down together, and they look so beautiful. Anyway, and once I'm done adding all this, I've really sped up this part of the video where I've just gone ahead and adhered all the elements. And now I've just taken this, not the stamp set, actually the die set called U, and I have die cut the U using this gold glitter cardstock, and I'm just going to add that directly onto those flowers in the center just using my liquid adhesive. I'm not going to pop this die up. I'm just going to keep it one layered, and I'm just going to add it to the center. And I've also gone ahead and taken the stamp set called Thanks, and I've taken the sentiment which says you are too kind, but I'm not going to stamp the U. Instead, I'm just going to take are too kind. What I've done is I stamped it and I cut the U away because the U was already there in the die cut, and I just kept the are too kind, and I've stamped it on a black cardstock with some white embossing powder, and I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that on top of the U, or under the U. And then I'm going to take these yellow gemstones here, and I'm going to add that in a scattering all around this frame. Actually, I'm also adding some outside the frame just to give some extra attention or detail. And now you can see this is pretty much the panel, the front panel of the card, and how easily it came together. And now all that's left to do is I'm just going to adhere that to a white top folding note card, and that pretty much completed this first card. You see how I really love the way it turned out. Tell me what you think about it. For the second card here, you see the little bangle set that is on the bottom part. I'm taking those three colors in cardstock, and I've also gone ahead and die cut using this mini slimline rectangle die. And I'm also going to take this this another die set from Lynn dies, which is available in the Rubbernecker store, and I'm going to die cut that using some white cardstock here. This card is definitely gender neutral, so you can definitely send this to a guy or even to a girl. It's pretty simple and easy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack these panels that we die cut like those bangles. I'm just going to offset them, and I'm going to stack them one above the other. So the first one, the darkest green, I'm going to directly adhere it to the bottom. And for the middle one, I'm going to pop it. But before I pop it up, I'm going to add the sentiment thanks on it using some black VersaFine ink. Remember in the beginning I said color blocking doesn't necessarily have to have just complementary color. Like these colors that I've chosen here are very similar in tones. They are all like, remember, if you remember from my class about tones and how to mix colors, so it's just that I've just taken colors that are very similar in the color family. So greens and blues are very close to each other, and I've just taken different shades of that color and just created. You can definitely do lighter pink to darker pink, lighter red to darker pink. Like this, the ombre effect is endless, so you can definitely do different combinations of this color panels. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and adhered the thanks panel with some foam adhesive, and then I went ahead and added the lighter blue behind, like underneath it, just using glue. And then I'm just taking that leaves that we die cut earlier using white cardstock, and I'm just putting it on those panels in a scattering. You can see here, and that pretty much does the whole card, except for that I've just added another sentiment which says just a note. And again, that sentiment is also from the same stamp set, and I'm just taking just a note, and I've stamped it using some black ink onto white cardstock, and I've cut it into a small label, and I'm going to adhere it right above the thanks, so it reads just a note of thanks. As I said earlier, this is a gender neutral card. I'm still going ahead and adding gemstones, but these gemstones are so subtle, they're kind of almost white, so they don't really add a whole lot of bling necessarily, but they do add a bit of texture to a very simple card. And here you can see I've gone ahead and added it to a top folding white note card, and that pretty much completed that card. And here is the look of the two cards. I really hope you give this a color blocking a go, and here are the closer look of these cards. And as I said earlier, show us your projects. We would love to see what you come up with using the Rubbernecker products, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.